Mic check 1 2. Can you guys hear me okay? I hope so. Alrighty. Hey. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hey guys, welcome to hashtag TNT Joe 5 tech news that Jerome Ortega finds interesting. This is episode number something because I lost count, and this is day number something in quarantine because I also lost count. Although it's really nice today here in Chicago. It's I think it's in the 50s, and I went for like an hour and a 20-minute walk, and it was great. And it's not as cold, and you know, everything is nice except we can't fucking go anywhere. Guys, how's it going? How you guys doing today? Glad you guys could make it. Appreciate you guys joining the stream. Let me go ahead and say hi to everybody real quick. Brian, what's going on, man? Welcome. I see Levin in here as well. What's good, stream? What's good? What's going on, Levin? How you doing, man? Nice to see you again. I see Rex here too. Rex, I don't think I've seen you in here before, but welcome to the stream. Hope you find it entertaining. It is not the most tech savvy day today, but you know, we can go through the stories that I have. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to talk about it in chat, and we can go over and we can have a conversation and talk about stuff. Why? Hey, what's up? Why? How you doing, man? Why 2019? Did you see what I sent you? I did not. Did you send it on Instagram? If you did, let me know, and I can take a look if I have time. But why? Welcome to the stream. Forbes Tech Reviews. Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to see you again. What's up? Not much. Just hanging in there, doing what I'm doing, trying to grind it out. But nice to see you, Forbes Tech Reviews. Appreciate you stopping by. All right, guys, let's get started. Let's talk about this first story. This is something that usually this kind of stuff doesn't get covered, but it's kind of important in a way. Kinda. I guess it really depends on what's going to happen here. So this article from The Verge is talking about Mark Lavoie, and Mark Lavoie is the person who is behind a lot of Google's the Google Pixel camera. And I believe its success. And this is something that I don't know much about either. And I saw this story, and let's kind of dig into it and see what's going on about it, or what's up with it. So this article from The Verge is saying the mastermind of Google's Pixel camera quietly left the company in March. So 2 months ago. I guess no big hurrah. There wasn't, much. Well, obviously, I'm sure they're going to try to keep it under wraps, or the guys at Google are. And so let's talk about it. Two key Pixel execs. So it wasn't just Mark Lavoie. There's someone else behind it too. Including the computer researcher who led the team that developed the computational photography powering the Pixel's camera, have left Google in recent months. So let's talk about that. One of the reasons the Pixel camera is so good is it's not really so much its hardware, but more because of the AI that's behind it. And I believe a lot of that has been heralded by Mark Lavoie, or at least from what I'm reading. I don't work for Google. I don't know all of the behind the scenes stuff, but from this article and a couple other ones that I kind of peruse, that's what they're talking about, is that yeah, they've had a big impact on the company as far as the Google Pixel's camera. The reason it's been, it's had a lot of fanfare. And where is this going to go from now? What is the future going to hold for the Pixel's camera? So let's continue on here. The executives who left are distinguished engineer Mark Lavoie and former Pixel general manager Mario Quiroz. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Quiroz. Quiroz had apparently already moved off the Pixel team 2 months before the launch of the Pixel 4 into a role that reported directly to Google CEO Sundar Pichai. However, he left in January to join Palo Alto Networks, according to the information and his LinkedIn. What is Palo Alto Networks? Is that even related to mobile at all, or is that something completely different? I don't know. I'm not in the loop with this kind of stuff. If you guys know, feel free to chime in and chat and we'll talk about it. Lavoie left Google in March, which is also reflected on his LinkedIn. The report also detailed some criticisms of the Pixel 4 from Google's hardware lead, Rick Osterloh, at a hardware team all-hands meeting in the fall ahead of the October launch in New York. Osterloh informed staff about his own misgivings. He told them he did not agree with some of the decisions made about the phone, according to two people who were present at the meeting. In particular, he was disappointed in its battery power. And you know what? It kicked him in the ass in 2019. I think out of all the things that Google was given shit for, it was its battery. And I mean, for someone here like the hardware lead, Rick Osterloh, to say that and to have an issue with that, and for them to just go ahead and still release the phone as it was, is, I don't know, man. That's kind of disappointing. You're talking about releasing a phone for $800, and I just don't understand why. Again, I don't know if this is because there's too many hands in the cookie jar here and only one person gets a say, or 18 people get to chime in, but how much is getting heard? I don't know. I don't know. For such a big company that does a lot of things, I just don't know why there are some, I don't know. I don't want to call them imperfections. They're just fuck ups. They really are. Why didn't this get looked into sooner? Why wasn't this an issue from the get-go? My colleague Dieter Bahn, who works on The Verge here, who does a lot of the reviews, also expressed disappointment in the Pixel 4's battery life in his review of the phone. And not just Dieter, everyone's complained about this. This was a big, and here's the thing. I think the bigger issue with this was the fact that here's how I feel about it. The Pixel 4's battery was not good, and it still isn't, right? And a lot of people know that, and a lot of people have reviewed it and said as such. But you want to know why it's such a bigger punch to people, is because the iPhone 11 Pro or the iPhone 11, the battery they got the battery right. And because the battery was so good on the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone 11 Pro Max, because the battery was so good there, it made the Pixel 4 look like shit. I mean, and I'm not saying that the Pixel 4's battery was good in any means. I'm just saying that it even highlighted how much worse it was because the iPhone 11 just completely trounced it as far as battery life. Um, and it's kind of weird to see this, to think that Mark Lavoie, the guy who and Mario here, who worked in the camera department or led the camera department as far as computational photography and its AI, to think that they were so upset. I don't know if it's just about the battery or whatever else was going on. Behind the scenes with the Google Pixel. And who knows? It could have been something else. Maybe they didn't stock enough snacks in the back. I don't know. I don't know what it is. We don't know the real inner workings behind Google and why people left, but maybe they just weren't happy with the way things were going there. So the information also describes how the Pixel 4 didn't sell nearly as well as its predecessors. Google only shipped around 2 million Pixel 4s in the first 2 quarters that the phone was on sale. By comparison, Google apparently shipped 3.5 million Pixel 3 phones and nearly 3 million Pixel 3a phones in the first 2 quarters they were on sale. These numbers also show that sales of recent Pixel phones haven't been nearly as strong as sales for some competitors. Apple sold 73.8 million iPhones in the 4th quarter of 2019 when the Pixel 4 was released, for example. So, obviously here, we all know that Apple is going to completely, take that market when it comes to phone sales. And I'm not the biggest proponent of what the numbers say. I don't really care about the numbers for sales. What I care about is giving me a good phone that's going to give me a good overall experience. That's going to make me say, hey, I would recommend this phone. That's how you're going to get sales. You're going to do it right. We can talk about lack of marketing. We can talk about all that kind of stuff. But, I still think you need to make a good product at the end of the day. So I do have another article that kind of continues onto it, and we'll continue that discussion. I'll go into the chat and we'll talk about it. But this article from Droid Life is talking about how the Pixel 4 launch sounds like a massive disaster for Google, and this just is a continuation of what's going on here. So the Google Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL are by no means bad phones, and I agree, they're not bad. They just have issues. And when it first released at $800, it was an even bigger issue. I've said this before, and I feel like I was gypped when I bought this phone. And that's not something I'm just saying, like weeks after the reviews first came out. This is something that I felt initially, that it was just such an expensive phone that I just didn't understand. And it's reflecting today, because now you can get the phone for $500 where it probably should have been priced at. And if they price it at $500, I bet you the reviews wouldn't be as bad, because then they would say, well, it's a $500 phone. What are you going to expect? And people are going to say that now with the iPhone SE. They can take a look over those shortcomings. They can say, it's an iPhone 8. It's an iPhone 8 piece of hardware, but it's $400. It's not the best camera, but it's a really good camera, but it's it's $400. The battery isn't really great, but it's $400. Anyway, moving on, we mostly like the Pixel 4 XL, and that's the one I would have gone with had I known that the battery was going to be as bad as it was, and love the fact that both have seen large discounts in recent months, but most reviews of each phone, including ours, found them lacking and overpriced at launch, leaving us under the impression that both were likely failures from a sales perspective. Again, I don't really care about calling a phone a failure because of the sales. Yes, that's going to make an impact, and it's going to affect how phones are released in the future. But I don't give a fuck about the sales numbers. I really do not care about the sales numbers. Give us a good product. The reviews will reflect that, and people will buy them. I guess that's how I feel like my thinking is in my head, but I don't know. There's always a catch somewhere. Marketing plays a big part, but okay. In a report out this morning, we're learning that not only was the Pixel 4 a retail flop, it may have cost the company its camera guru. The head of its hardware division also apparently shared his displeasure with the pair of phones and their features prior to launch. I mean, this sounds bad. On a sales front, okay, we can talk about sales. We just talked about that earlier. Let's continue on. Sales aside, Mark Lavoie, the computational camera guru from Stanford that has helped the Google Pixel line shape an identity all around having one of the best cameras in the business, has left the company. And this is what has been Google's saving grace, not only for its stock Android software, but the fact that its camera was so good. Lavoie, as you may recall, spent 11 minutes on stage during the Pixel 4 event just this past fall to talk about all of the camera magic his team had built into Google's new phones. He led the team that introduced HDR Plus and Night Sight and the portrait modes found in Pixel phones. Wondering what that means for the Pixel 5 camera and beyond? So are we. That's the big question. Where is this going to go from here? I have said this before, guys, especially if you guys are, if you guys come to watch this every day. I don't know how good this Pixel 5 camera is going to be. I hope it's going to be good. I hope what I've been saying is it needs to surpass the iPhone 11 Pro's camera and the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro's camera. They need to kill it this year. And whether they do or they don't is yet to be seen. I know there have been some apologists who are saying, well, Google is working on their own custom chip for the Pixel 6. So give them a break, Jerome. Like, give them a pass for the Pixel 5. No, they get no pass. This is $1 billion company. They want brand loyalty. They need to make good products year over year over year. And if they don't, then we're going to call them out on their shit. The same way I do for any company, for Apple, for LG, for whatever. They're going to get they need to be called out because they need to perform better. You want us to spend the money on your phones, then put a good product out. End of story. Okay, so the foundation is there for great cameras, but knowing how poor the camera experience on Google phones were prior to Lavoie, you have to be somewhat nervous about future Pixel phones. That's kind of a fair point. I don't think the cameras were always that bad, but the Nexus 6P was my favorite. That was what got me. I mean, I've had Google phones for a while. Prior to the Nexus 6P, all the way to the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. And yes, before the 6P, the cameras weren't that great, but I didn't think they were awful. But yeah, what's going to happen from here? Anyway, on an equally concerning note, just before the hardware team took stage to introduce its lineup of new products, yeah, we talked about this in the previous article. Rick Osterloh was talking about where he wasn't happy with the phones he would soon sell the public, not happy with some areas. So yeah, we talked about this already. Google denied a request to speak with Osterloh. As you all know, battery life, particularly with the Pixel 4, is one of the areas that likely sunk Google's newest phones. To see Osterloh's shared disappointment should bring up questions about who is making final decisions here. Who's making these final decisions? Who's saying that this is okay? Who's saying that, yeah, 4 hours screen on time is about what every user needs. And that's good enough. If it was Mario Quiroz, the man behind years of Pixel and other Google hardware products, today's report acknowledges that he has since left the company as well. All right, then, how about that Pixel 4a? So earlier in a tech chat that I have with some guys, I'm with Will, who's in the chat here too, Brian as well. We kind of briefly touched on this, and for me, I'm just like, just blow up the company. Just reboot it, just restart it. You really think Google has maintained where it's been? Over the last couple of years, Google has turned into a company that wanted to do no evil and now has turned into this big, like, the bottom line for that company is the dollar, is the profit margin. The guys on top now, they're all about like, how much earnings can we make, blah, 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 all this bullshit that none of the regular people care about, because the bottom line is the dollar, and it sucks. That's why my faith in Google has really moved on from where it used to be. It hasn't been where it has. And I would love for myself and for other people, I'm sure, to change their minds about that, to say like, yeah, I remember this company. I remember when they used to do some good shit. And I'm not saying they're not doing some good shit right now, but I just don't think their priorities are straight. And I guess, we can sit here and we can say, well, every company's like that, Jerome. Well, fuck that. Like, every company doesn't have to be like that. So I want to be behind a company that I can actually put some brand loyalty to, and I don't have that right now. I really don't. So I'll call the good where there's good, and I'll call the bad where there's bad. I've said this about Apple. To see them release a $400 phone with an A13 Bionic chip with the highest end chipset right now, offering a good camera at a $400 price point, I think is great. I think that's a great move. I think the fact that the iPhone 12 is reportedly coming out with an OLED display and is going to have a great main shooter with the fastest processor for $650, a flagship price that you were only able to get like 4 or 5 years ago, I think that's a great move too. I just want to see companies do better. That's why I'm happy to see this mid-range, like $400 to $500 price range come into play, to be a real thing again, to put some good specs out there at a good, decent price. That's how I feel about it. Let me move into chat here. I know there's actually a good amount of people here, so I might not be able to get to everything in the chat, but let me just see what's going on, and we'll go from there. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for joining the stream. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Rex is saying here, do you think the Pixel cameras will get better or worse? Rex, I think they're going to get better. I'm an optimist. As much as I talk shit about where Google's been lately, I still think that they're going to do better. I want them to do better. I hope they're going to do better. For me to say otherwise, I don't know, man. I just fingers crossed. Hilario Araguin? Am I saying that right? Hilario. Sup, Jerome? What's going on, Hilario? Appreciate you making it to the stream. Appreciate you making it to the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Ultratech. I think everyone wanted a wide angle lens on the Pixel 4. Ultratech, by the way, welcome, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Nice to see you in here. Yeah, I think everyone did. They wanted a wide angle on the Pixel 4, but and I've said this before. Rather than a wide angle, I would have been happy if the Pixel 4 had a better camera overall than the iPhone 11 Pro, and it didn't. At least in my testing, it didn't. And if it could have at least beat it there, I would have been happy. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people wanted a wide angle lens, and maybe they'll put it for the Pixel 5 and maybe they won't. I mean, they're not even putting an 800 chipset in there. They're going to be putting a 760 something. We don't know if it's a 5 or a G, so I don't know. Anyway, Ultratech, welcome to the chat. Will in here too. Will, what's going on, man? What's up? Well, why didn't he speak up? Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on behind that team? I really don't know. Louder. Yeah. Battery power really is below average on the Pixel 4. I agree with you. I'm charging mine right now. You know what? I can't. It's not long enough here. I have my Pixel 4 right here, and it's sitting on the charger right now. So just FYI. Baby Lizard or BBY Lizard. What's going on, man? Appreciate you joining the stream. I don't think I've seen you in here before, but thanks for stopping by. My Pixel 3's battery hasn't held up well either. Yeah, I can't remember how good my Pixel 3's battery was. I don't know if they've ever been that good. And again, I think the big reason that a lot of us are really pointing it out now is because of the iPhone 11 and how good its battery was. Not to mention though, the Pixel 4, they went ahead and they added the 90 hertz refresh rate on there, so that kind of killed it too. There are things like digital well-being that Brian in the chat has pointed out to me that kind of saved me more battery turning that off. I don't know how much battery eats up when you use solely, but I'm sure a lot of these factors kind of all added in there. Paul Hendrix in the chat too in the stream. Hey, Jerome, totally unrelated, but I massively prefer the F2 Pro over the 7T Pro because of the silly curved screen on the 7T. Actually, Paul, that's a great point. That is a great point. I know we talked about that yesterday, and someone else had pointed out that, well, they would rather get the 7T Pro because of the software, and I also agree on that point as well. But yes, the curved screen is something I do not care for, and that is a great point, Paul. Appreciate you actually pointing that out. So anyway, welcome to the stream, man. Nice to see you here. Okay, let me scroll down again, guys. I'm not going to be able to go through everything. Just want to go through a couple names I haven't seen here yet. Lonky Games. Yo, Jerome, what would you say is your most controversial tech opinion? Lonky Games, first of all, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. My most controversial tech opinion, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what people don't agree with me with. Usually when I call things overpriced, people will argue with me on that front. When I talk about certain cameras, people will either say I'm getting paid or my phone. You know what the best excuse is every time I put camera reviews out and I give my honest opinion is people will always tell me your phone's broken, your phone's broken, your phone's broken. I don't know what my most controversial tech opinion is. That's actually a good thing, a good question, and I'll have to think about that. But a lot of people don't agree with me on a lot of stuff, and that's fine. And I actually appreciate that because I like having a conversation. I think instead of people being and this is something that I've talked about on the news team I work with. What my news team is good about talking about is team A and team B, right? Team Apple, team Android, and I don't like when people think that way because then they become biased. And I try to I do have a slight bias with Google because I really like what they have to offer and I want them to do good. But I still will call the bullshit out when I see it. Let me get back to you though on that, Lonky. It's a good question. It is a good question. Anyway, appreciate you making it. I see Daniel in here as well. This is one of the guys I work with on my news team. Is it just me, or is Google always forgetting to market or promote their products? Here's the thing: is like they do promote and they'll do market, but they do it in such I don't know. I don't know how whoever runs their team there or how they do it. It's it's like you'll see a spurt of marketing and then they're gone. And then they'll come back and then they're gone. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Anyway, Daniel, thanks for making it, man. Appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let me scroll down here. I know you guys are having a conversation and that's great. Just let me Ultratech says my Nexus 6P still running like a torch. Me as well. Actually, I'm about to pull that phone out and do another camera comparison just to do one. I really like just, shooting pictures and going through that stuff. So Will says, come on, Jerome, bring the rage like yesterday. If you guys weren't here yesterday, I was raging about the Scrabble app for mobile. I was really upset about that. But I see Hopkins in here too. The problem is with DJI apps, Nexus is not supported on DJI Fly, for example. I know you guys are having your own conversation, but Hopkins, I just wanted to say, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Scrolling down. Sorry, guys. Let me see here. Who else did I miss? I just want to say hi to everybody. So Nippon Charma, I fear for the Pixel lineup. I have that fear too, but I'm trying to be pessimistic. I am really hoping the Pixel 5 is going to kill it, even though they might not, even though people are saying it's going to be a down year for the Pixel 5, but I don't know. Nippon says, or Nippon, tell me how to pronounce it, man, so I can get it right. I adore the camera, but I fear investing in it emotionally because it might die soon. That is a fair point, and that is something that really is hard to not kind of bring to the forefront. It here, and actually, you know what? I've said this to people before too. I used to recommend the Pixel to a lot of people, and I can't really recommend it as much as I used to. I really can't, because it's just not where I want it to be, especially when other phones are coming out now at really competitive prices. Like how can I not tell people, hey, the OnePlus 7T is $500 right now. And I feel like that's a really good buy if the camera isn't your main focus. If the camera isn't your main priority, the OnePlus 7T at $500 is a great deal, especially for what it'll give you, especially performance wise. And we will actually get into that. I do have an article about that too, but, yeah. So anyway, we'll get into that. Gotta go. Pop quiz time. Paul, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for joining the stream. I see Mahir in here too. How is this man so sweet? I don't know if you're talking to me, but Mahir Pandharapande. Hopefully I said that right. Pandharapand. Either way, Mahir, thanks for joining, man. Thanks for joining the stream. I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but appreciate you guys stopping by. Real quick, before I continue, because we're going to move on to our next story here, but real quick, before I see Sergio in here as well. Sergio, you have a new stream schedule. Yeah, man. I've been streaming at, I usually say 12 p.m. Central, but now it's been like 1 p.m. Central, but let's say between 12 and 1 p.m. But Sergio, nice to see you, man. Sergio Corretto, you've been a long supporter. Appreciate you stopping by. Anonymous, why using 2x if they're working with Sabre for improved zoom? A wide angle on the Pixel 4 was necessary. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Sabre. Isn't Sabre that company from The Office? Am I wrong? Anyway, I'll have to get it back into it. I'm a little confused on what's going on right now. So let me real segue real quick, guys. For you guys, okay, yeah, you guys are talking about something else here, I think. But real quick, guys, if you've noticed in the chat, there are some guys in the chat here who have green next to their name. They have a red Chicago badge or a red Chicago star next to their name, and that is because they are a member of my channel. And you can get that perk, have a red Chicago badge. It's a way to support me, and you can do that for as little as 99 cents a month. And that's being a member on my channel. It's something that I've just opened up recently, and then there are different tiers for that as well. At a $5 tier, you can have access to my private Discord, and then other tiers will give you access to some of my higher production videos before anyone else gets to see them, before I post them publicly. Anyway, all you have to do is click that join button, or you can go to youtube.com/phone Jerome/join. I'll just leave it at that. I do appreciate everyone for stopping by. Appreciate everybody who's been supporting. Even just saying hi in the chat does mean a lot to me. Appreciate that. So let's move on to our next story real quick. Also, if you guys haven't, please feel free to like the video. Liking the video helps me in an algorithmic way, AKA I think it helps people find the stream, find the chat. So yeah, feel free to like it. Come say hi. I don't bite. I think my chat, they're pretty good people. I got Will and Brian who moderate, and they're good guys, and they're always happy to talk to people and say what's up. So anyway, guys, let's move on to our next story, which is actually going to be about the Pixel 4a. So this article from 9 to 5 Google, and I think this was actually put on XDA, is talking about the Google Pixel 4a. And I know there's one guy that has this Pixel 4a, and he's done camera tests, and he's talked about the phone, and he's leaked it. And now he's talking about performance and battery testing. So let's scroll down here. Google's Pixel 4a should have been announced yesterday, but the cancellation of Google I/O threw Google's plans for a loop. If you guys don't know, I talked about this on an earlier stream. What they're doing is now the Pixel 4a might be revealed instead in June, when they're doing the public beta launch for Android 11. And that's going to be held, I think, on June 2nd or June 3rd. I'm forgetting right now, but sometime in June, early June, because now there's no Google I/O. They're going to have an online public beta launch event for Android instead. And this is maybe when they're going to be announcing the Pixel 4a. And as much as we've been like kind of trashing Pixel, and I won't call it trashing, I think it's just bringing it to the forefront. I in a way, I'm kind of excited for the Pixel 4a. I want to see what it's going to have and what they're going to offer it. So so it looks like somebody has kind of put it through its tests for performance and for battery. So before we dive into these results, there's a huge caveat. The 4a unit is at least a few months old and has clearly had some of its software modified. And that's true. Whoever has had this Pixel 4a has had it for a while now, and I don't think there's been any updates that's been pushed to it. And probably, I don't know, maybe because it's been an unreleased model, that maybe they know that somebody's been leaking the info and they don't want people to leak it. But so okay, let's talk about it here. Don't take any of these results as concrete proof. That's very true. Like, we can use it as a guide to see where it's at, but looking at benchmarks, the Pixel 4a scored 268,973 on Antutu. That's a bit lower than the Pixel 3 XL. And the Pixel 4 beats it as well. But the good news here is that it's a good jump from the Pixel 3a, which is to be expected, which managed a score of 192,779. So it's a bit higher, no, a good bit higher than the Pixel 3a. So good on that performance point. Other tests, and there were other benchmarks for it as well. So the internals of the Pixel 4a are pretty much finalized. So they're talking about a Snapdragon 730. I think, right? The Snapdragon 730 chipset, 3080 milliamp hour battery, which is something that I actually was curious about. Like, how good is the battery going to be on this? I'm assuming it's going to be bad. I'm assuming it's going to be better than the battery on the Pixel 4a. So also shown in this video are results on battery life. The 3080 milliamp hour battery in the Pixel 4a gave some users cause for concern in earlier leaks, but it seems the results aren't too shabby. The results in the video above and pictured below seem to be just from performance testing. So the 5 hours and 11 minutes of, 5 hours and 11, that needs to be corrected, and 11 minutes of runtime in the different screenshots are probably not at all reflective of real life usage. So I don't know, maybe it's going to get 6 hours, maybe something like that. We don't know for sure. We'll undoubtedly learn more about the Pixel 4a in the next couple of weeks as its launch approaches. So stay tuned. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. To know that the performance is better than the Pixel 3a is obvious. Hopefully, it's going to be a good amount better. I mean, it looks like it might be here, and the battery is going to be pretty good on it as well. So we'll see. I see Rajesh in here. Krishnan, please reply to me. Rajesh, what's going on, man? You don't have to beg. It's fine. I'm here. Don't worry. I'm gonna reply. Pixel 4a, is it worth it? You know what? At a $400 price point, we don't know for sure, but let me put it out like this. The Pixel 4a, as long as it prices out at $400, and I'm assuming the Pixel 4a is going to have 64 gigs of internal storage. I wish it's going to have 128. If it does have 128 at $449 US, I think that's going to be a good deal. I think the performance is going to be decent. The camera is going to be good. Obviously, the battery is going to be good. The display looks a lot better than what the Pixel 4 is going to give us. I think it's going to be a decent phone. It's going to have a 3.5mm headphone jack if you want wired headphones. You know, the build quality is probably not going to be the best. It's not going to be IP rated, so you got to be careful when you're using it, around water. But I think for a $400 price point, I think it's going to be worth it. I think it'll be worth it. I'm hoping it's going to be a Pixel 4a for $400 at 128 gigs of internal storage, but it probably won't. Let's not forget, it's also going to have 6 gigs of RAM. I think it's going to be a good step up. I don't think it's going to be a bad phone at all. But as far as longevity, if it's going to be, are you going to be able to use it 2 years down the 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road? I don't know. I've never used a 700 series chipset, so I can't tell you how good it's going to be performance wise, but or longevity wise in performance, but we can only wait and see. Brian here with $1 super chat. Brian, thank you so much, man. Thank you for continuing your streak of super chats. Brian is probably on number, I don't know, 30 something, 40 something maybe of super chats. But Brian, for the $1 super chat, thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. Thank you again. Gilio Jax. Hey, what's going on, man? Gilio Jax, what's up? The 4A will be a much better value than many flagships. Yeah, I can see that as well. It's going to be a good price point. You know what? If Will saying the 7 Pro is $549 shipped. That's actually my next story. Why are you jumping ahead, Will? I gave you the show notes. I'm kidding. I didn't give you the show notes, but we'll actually talk about that. Yeah, I think the Pixel 4a is going to be a really good deal. It's still going to be competitive against the iPhone SE, and it's going to be a phone that I probably will be able to recommend. I'm probably going to buy it just to test it out, see how good it is, see how the camera actually compares to the Pixel 4, if it's going to be right on par with it. But we'll wait and see. I'm actually looking forward to it, and we'll get it in. It looks like early June, maybe. So maybe a couple weeks from now, hopefully. Okay, so that's actually my next story after that, Will. So we'll see. So right now, this article from Tech Radar, we'll talk about the Dimensity 1000 Plus. So we've talked about this chipset from MediaTek. Their Dimensity 1000 is their high-end chipset. And they just released an updated version of it, and they're calling it the Dimensity 1000 Plus. And here's the thing. This article pretty much says the first Dimensity 1000 Plus 5G phone could cost as low as $350. So $350 for a high-end chipset. Now, this Dimensity 1000 Plus, I don't know what it compares to. Does it compare to a Snapdragon 800 series? If it does, that's a pretty good deal at $350. But I don't know for sure. So let's just kind of read into it. I just thought I'd bring it up because we've been talking about it. And this phone is supposedly going to carry this Dimensity 1000 Plus, which is the IQOO. I don't know. The IQOO Z1 is launching on May 19th, shaping up to be quite an interesting phone. Little known IQOO, which is originally a Vivo sub-brand in China, just revealed the phone's official renders. So yeah. I mean, it looks cool. I don't know much about it. It also seems like the the legitimate pricing for the handset has leaked, and it is sure to turn a few heads. Coming to renders, the rectangular cutout for cameras has become quite commonplace on smartphones in 2020. The iQOO Z1 has the same cutout with triple cameras and an LED flash placed in it. The fingerprint could either be on the front screen or inside the home button. The handset will come in 2 color variants, white and blue. So the 1000 plus 5G SoC, making it the first handset to do so. I don't know what other specs it has, but for 352, so 2498 yuan. So a day back, the Poco F2 Pro was launched with an eye-catching 540 price tag. So a lot of people are kind of questioning that price because, it is higher than what people normally paid for the Poco F1, which priced at 299. But if this poster is legitimate, this takes 5G phones to a whole new affordable level. The prices are for the 6 gig RAM, 128 gig internal storage model. Following its Snapdragon siblings, the iQOO Z1 also likely to boast a 44-watt fast charging, while a refresh rate of 144 hertz is also being talked about for the upcoming phone. So pretty good specs on there. At a $350 price point, that's not bad either. I don't know much about it. Just thought I'd share. $350 for a new phone that has a high-end chipset is nothing to really it's worth me mentioning. It's worth me talking about whether this is something that's going to come to the States. I don't know. I just thought I'd share because I thought it was actually a good deal. Again, if it's only going to be in China, it's a good deal for people out there, but I have no idea about its UI or its support or anything like that. So, it's something that I'm keeping in my head because I want to learn more about these other off-branded phones and see if it's something I can eventually get my hands on and test. Okay, so I see here, Tobez is in here. Tobez, no, Jagu. Hello, brother. What's going on, Tobez? Glad you can make the stream. Glad to see you in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Brian says, I think the best part of the Pixel is stills camera, updates, and UI. Everything else is average at best. That's a good point. I agree with that. I agree with a lot of that. Rajesh is also asking, totally agree with you, but do you think Pixel 4a or SE? What will you suggest to users? If you want the best camera, if you need a better camera at night, I think the Pixel 4a is the better choice. If the camera is your priority, then yeah, I would probably recommend the Pixel 4a. If you want to use it if you want a better display, if you want and here the Pixel 4a will probably give you the better camera. It'll probably have the better display. It'll have the better battery. Those 3 things will probably beat the iPhone SE. And I would recommend the Pixel 4a in those terms. If you need more internal storage, the iPhone SE you can get for $449 with 128 gigs of internal storage right now. I don't know what the Pixel 4a is going to have in terms of pricing for 128 gigs of internal storage, or if it's even going to have 128 gigs of internal storage. But if you're looking for something that's going to have better processing, better performance power, or better performance, if you want to have a phone that's probably going to have better support 4 years down the road, that's still going to be usable 4 or 5 years down the road, then maybe the iPhone SE is the better choice for you. So it really depends. There isn't one that I can just recommend. It really is going to depend on the priority of what you're talking about. Hawkins is saying, I really dislike the hole punch selfie cam on the Pixel 4a. I agree. I'm with you on that. The only thing is the Pixel 4, the way the design on the Pixel 4, I just don't care for it because it's so asymmetrical, because the bezel on the top is just so much bigger than the one on the bottom because of Soli. I much prefer the display on the Pixel 4a, not the display, but the design, the less bezel on the Pixel 4a over the 4. But I agree with you. I would rather not have a hole punch. The one thing, Hopkins, that I've talked about many times is a selfie cam. That is one of my favorite things on a phone. I've never owned one, but I would love to have one just to test out. And we're actually going to talk about that in a second here. But yeah, or a water drop notch. I mean, I'm not a big fan of any kind of notches. I would rather have a thin bezel on top with a front cam there instead. But I hear you. I'm not a big fan of the hole punch either. So I hear where you're going on that. Baby Lizard says, I really like the design of the Pixel 3 2 XL. Also love the black borders on the 4. I hear you. It's been a while since I've had a 2 or a 3, so I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me to see. But yeah, I'd have to take a look again and see what that's like. Baby Lizard also says no notch cutout is greater than a water drop is greater than a hole punch is greater than a notch. That's hard to disagree with. Gilio Jax also says iOS versus Android when it comes to 4A versus the SE as well. Yeah, and so that's the thing is like for me with iOS, I'm not a big fan of their UI. It's something that has been like, I won't call it a headache. It's not a headache, but I just don't care for their UI at all. It's not my preferred choice. I would take Android's UI over iOS any day. Okay, so let's talk about the OnePlus right now. This is a story that Will stole from me. Just kidding, Will. But this article from Android Central is talking about the OnePlus 7T or the OnePlus Pro right now with up to $150 off. Here's the thing. The OnePlus 7T has been on sale for a while now. You've been able to get the OnePlus 7T brand new for $499 US, which has been a great deal. And it's a hard deal not to recommend to other people. But the OnePlus 7 Pro is also going on sale. So the phones OnePlus makes offer some of the best bang for the buck you can get. I'm a fan of the OnePlus 7 Pro. I would love to have one because we were just talking about no notches. We were talking about pop-up selfie cams, and that is the one thing that I want. Look at this OnePlus 7 Pro. Look at how clean this is with no notch, no water drop, no nothing, just a pop-up selfie cam, which is what I really want. I want one of these phones, which is kind of why I got excited for the Poco 2F Pro. Poco F2 Pro because it has a selfie pop-up cam. But now the OnePlus 7 Pro can be had for $550. Here's the thing. I don't know how readily available it is. So they're talking about how you're able to get it right now on their website, but well, let's talk about this real quick. So the 7T 855 plus Snapdragon, you're going to get a triple camera in the back, and then 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage for $550 for the OnePlus 7 Pro, which is a deal and a half. But here's the thing. So I went to the website, OnePlus 7 Pro, right? When I go to buy now, I don't know if it's sold out already. I don't know if people saw that deal and they took it because you can't buy it right now. Earlier today, I was able to actually click on it and I was able to get to it, but I can't get to it now. So whether or not it's gone is, I don't know. Maybe they sold out, which kind of sucks. Actually, let me see if they have the OnePlus 7T for $599. Oh, the OnePlus 7T is not even here anymore. Am I missing something, or did they just remove it completely? This article just came out, so I don't know if people saw the deals and then they were just like, yeah, it's not even. Sorry, I'm just like, yeah, it's gone. So maybe you can't get the deal. Maybe the deal's over. I don't know, guys. But it was a good deal when it came out, and I still think it's a good deal. And if it was still available, I would say the OnePlus 7T for $500 is a great deal. OnePlus 7 Pro with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage, though, at $550, I think is a fantastic deal. And if you're able to get it for that price, more power to you. If you're looking for a phone, I would recommend that in a heartbeat. I really would. Okay, let's move on here. Here's an article. The one thing that actually I went on a rant about this earlier last week, about Google and unification of their messaging apps. But Google is working on RCS. This is something they've been working on for a while. And now Google is actually testing a reaction thing for RCS. If you guys are not familiar with what RCS is similar to what Apple has with iMessage, and Google is planning on making their own. Samsung is adopting it as well. So Galaxy phones are going to have RCS, and maybe, just maybe, this will make an iMessage kind of client for Google, for Samsung, and maybe for other phones down the road. What's great about RCS is you're able to see when people read your texts. You're able to see like when they're typing to you, right? And they're adding these features that have been long sought after on Android for a long time. And this is why I haven't been using Google Messages or anything like that. This is why I use Telegram. Telegram is my all-time favorite messaging app. I've said this before. If you guys watch my streams regularly, I talk about Telegram all the time. It does so much. It still needs one thing in particular that I've been waiting for, and it's this. It's this right here. It's a reaction. It's a reaction type thing for messages, or yeah, it's a reaction type feature on messages. And how it works is on iPhone, on iMessage, if you hold down on a message, you're able to reply with like a thumbs up or a exclamation point or a haha laugh kind of thing. And they're adding it. So if you see this, you can hold down on the reaction and then you can reply like that. I think that's one of the best features. I don't know why Telegram doesn't have this yet. Telegram has so many awesome features in it, and this is the one thing that they haven't added, but it looks like RCS is working on it. Whether or not RCS is going to become a thing, I don't know, but and we can make fun of it all day, but I'm just glad to see that they're doing something. I'm glad to see Google doing something. Google is testing a new feature in its Messages app that lets you react to messages using emoji. First spotted by Reddit users in a thread, was picked up by Android police. The feature reportedly lets you react to a message by long pressing on it, just like iMessage. Then you can select from emoji, just like this, including thumbs up, thumbs down, anger, and crying with laughter. The feature appears to only work over RCS and is not available in SMS only conversations. So you need to enable RCS to get this to work. Enabling RCS isn't always the easiest thing either, which is kind of annoying. And hopefully they make that easier as time goes on. Like look at Apple's Messages app, right? You don't have to do anything. Once you get it to Messages app, you're already automatically in iMessage. And it's not like that right now for Google Messages. You still have to enable RCS. And I want to see it get easier to use. And I mean, it's not that once it's activated, then you're good. You're good to go. You're able to use it, but I don't know many people who have it, and it kind of sucks because I test it out. I'd probably use it more if it was available. And to see a reaction type thing coming on, that's good to know. Messages is in the first chat app to get emoji reactions, which are also available in Facebook Messenger, Twitter direct messages, and Apple's iMessage. Similar to iMessage, if your phone, this is in grammar, if your phone doesn't currently have the feature, you'll receive a standalone message to tell you if someone has used an emoji to respond. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen that before, maybe. For now, Google appears to be testing the feature with a small number of users. It's unclear, however, if running the latest beta version of the app is a prerequisite to see the emoji reactions or if it's a service-side flag set by Google. Again, a good feature. Glad to see it. Whether or not it's going to take off is another question, but we'll see. Levin says here, RCS works like a dream on my Pixel 4 XL, 3 XL, and my wife's Samsung S10. That's awesome. That's good to know. I'm assuming you guys probably use it together. And I would rather use, if you aren't using an app like Telegram, I'm glad that you're able to use RCS together. Actually, Levin, let me ask you, are you able to use reactions for RCS messages? Are you able to use this feature now? I would like to know. I'm curious. Baby Lizard says here, that's pretty sweet. I've used RCS with a few other Android users. Hopefully it can become the standard even on iPhones. You know what? Baby Lizard, we've talked about this before. It will probably never be a thing on the iPhone. And the reason is because if iPhone allows RCS, people will probably not use iMessage anymore. It'll probably kill iMessage because now people with iPhones can talk to people on Android using this kind of feature, this heavy, rich feature, app. And I think the last thing Apple wants to do is get rid of iMessage or let it die. I think they're going to do everything in their power to not make that, go away. Yeah, Will says Google needs to add features. Levin says just hearing about it, but I'll try it out. Yeah, just long press on a message, Levin. Long press on an RCS message and see if it works. Y says, Jerome, I sent something on Instagram. Why? I'll take a look at it. I probably won't have time to take a look at it today. I'm rounding out the hour here, but I'll take a look at it later today and see if I can implement it tomorrow in tomorrow's story and see if it's some. I mean, real quick, this is TNT Joe-Fi. It's about stories I find interesting. So, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll cover it. So I'll take a look at it. Why? I appreciate you messaging me and lending that story out to me. Okay, guys, let's move on here. I don't have many stories left, and they're going to be real quick at this point. LG Stylo 6. I remember a lot of people used to talk about the LG Stylo 5. I know nothing about this phone. I know this is a lower end budget phone, but apparently a Stylo 6 is coming, and it's a follow-up to the popular 2019 Stylo 5. This phone, the phone has been detailed by a Boost Mobile employee who got a flyer from the company early. While a price or plan wasn't mentioned, nor a release date, you can expect it to land very soon. So let's see what's in it. They call it a stylo because it uses a stylus. Am I correct? Is that why? How many of you guys buy a phone because it has a stylus? Anyone in the chat, is a stylus that important to you that you buy a phone? Is that why you get one? I don't know anybody that says the number one priority on my phone is it needs a stylus, because I use a stylus all the time. Who uses a stylus on their phones? Or is it just people who own a Note? And then they like to pull that stylus out, and then they just like, I got a stylus. You know what? When I had a Nintendo Switch that had a stylus, I never pulled that shit out and bragged that it had a stylus. I don't know. I just don't know what the big thing about. I don't know. I'm ranting on it. It's just not my thing. I don't see it being a big priority for people. So here's the flyer talking about the Stylo 6 here. A 6.8 inch FHD plus display. So it's a big display, and it's to be expected when you're going to have a stylus. Fast charging, a triple camera setup, a front camera, a stylus pen, 64 gigs of I'm assuming internal storage, 3 gigs of RAM, a fingerprint scanner on the back, a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and they're expecting that it's going to price somewhere around $299. And that's it. Just thought I would share the LG Stylo 6 and the specs there. Okay, you know what? I am probably not going to go through all of these stories. I am probably going to go through this one and one more, I think. So, right. Am I going through? Yeah. Okay. These are my last two, but let's talk about that. These aren't as tech heavy. They're kind of tech-ish, but this article from 9to5Mac is talking about how Apple needs to add this new X-ray mode camera to the next iPhone. This is very clickbaity. I saw this and I'm like, this is such a clickbait article, but it's pretty cool. So what this is for people who are using the color filter on the OnePlus 8 Pro, right? Is the color filter lens on the OnePlus 8? I don't know if it is. I think it's on the 8 Pro. So it's been discovered today that the OnePlus 8 Pro camera has a really neat trick up its sleeve. Pseudo X-ray powers with its camera through certain types of plastic. And it turns out one of the coolest looks yet at the hidden feature is with the Apple TV. So this guy, I don't know who Ben Geskin is, but shared some short videos on Twitter today showing off what the OnePlus 8 Pro camera with the photochrom filter can do. So let's just cut into it and take a look at how this filter works. Actually, I thought it was pretty cool. Let me make this bigger. So it kind of makes it translucent, right? You can kind of see through the plastic of this Apple TV. I don't think this was... They were saying it's an unintended feature, and I agree. I don't think this was to be intended, but yeah, I don't know why the article is real clickbaity. This is a must-have. The next iPhone has to have this. Like, fuck off. That's a clickbait kind of article. Nobody really needs to have this on the phone. But I did think it was pretty cool, and I think he has another one doing this too with Oculus Quest controllers. So he does the same thing here as well. So you can kind of see through the plastic. Again, not just a little piece here to share. I don't know if he did it with anything else. That's about it. Just thought I'd share it with you guys. Thought it was kind of interesting. And okay, so to close it off here, I have this article from Business Insider, not one of the biggest tech article like places I get my stuff from, but this article is talking about a Tesla owner thwarted an attempt carjacking by remotely locking the suspect inside his Model 3. So a Tesla owner was able to thwart an attempted carjacking. Cops arrested a 21-year-old in connection to the attempted theft and detailed the case on Facebook. So Police in Barstow, California say that the 21-year-old Charlie Smith entered the suspect's vehicle on the morning of May 8th. And so what was that? 5 days ago, and ordered the driver to exit the car. The driver complied. He told police and then locked the vehicle with the iPhone with his iPhone until officers arrived to make an arrest. I'm really confused. So when you lock your car, right? Like let's say you lock someone with your iPhone in there. You can't unlock your car from the inside to get out? Or was the guy just like not understanding what was going on and then he just stayed in the car? When officers placed the suspect under arrest, they observed that he was sweating profusely and was twitching and blinking his eyes rapidly. So maybe he was on something. The department said in a Facebook post, he was charged with carjacking in violation of parole, according to county jail records. The latter of those charges is not eligible for bail. And of Wednesday morning, Smith remained at the A detention center in San Bernardino. So this clip here, so this is, I guess that's the mugshot of the guy. But I just want to read through this. On May 8th, 2020, 10:20 a.m., officers were dispatched to the 400 block of East Frederick Street. The reporting party stated that while he was sitting inside his Tesla T3 vehicle, a subject opened the driver's side door and began screaming at him to get out of the car. The subject made the victim get out of his vehicle and then attempted to steal it. The victim stated that he was able to use his cell phone to turn the vehicle's engine off and lock the subject inside of the vehicle. Okay, so you turn the engine off. Maybe he didn't know how to turn the car back on. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how this shit works. Or maybe he didn't have a key and his iPhone was a key. I know Will and I, we talked about this before. So I'm looking at chat real quick. As officers arrived on scene, they observed the subject, later identified as Charlie Smith, in the driver's seat of the vehicle. Officers made contact with Smith and placed him under arrest. When officers placed Smith under arrest, they observed that he was sweating profusely. We read this already. Smith's behavior was also erratic and combative. Smith was placed under arrest for carjacking and being under the influence of a controlled substance. So maybe he didn't even know what was going on, and that's why he couldn't get the car started, and maybe that's why he couldn't get out of the car. I just thought it was kind of I don't know, maybe not a funny story, just like a what the fuck kind of story. Anyway, Will says here, LOL, Jerome, you must be hilarious when telemarketers call. Not really. I just don't even talk to telemarketers. Your car's warranty is about to expire, Jerome. Fuck out. And then Diaz says here, never really understood the use of a stylus on a phone. Me neither. I don't, it's not something I typically use. It's actually nothing I ever use. So I don't understand either. Not something that I'm big on, but Diaz, welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the chat. I am actually just about to round out the hour here. So before I go, guys, real quick, guys, if you haven't already, if you've noticed, some people in my chat, they have a green colored name and they have a red Chicago star next to their name, and that's because they are a member of my channel. Guys, for as low as 99 cents a month, I sound like a goddamn sales guy, and I'm not a sales guy, guys. I'm just saying, if you guys want to support me, you can do so. You can do so for as little as 99 cents a month. It'll give you that green name. It'll give you a Chicago star next to your name, and you'll also get to use custom emoji. You'll also get your name on the intro and outros of every one of my live streams. You can just click the join button here, or you can just go to youtube.com/PhoneJerome/join. If you can't find that join button, and again, it's as easy as that. Either way, though, I do appreciate the support, regardless if you just come by to like the video, or if you're a subscriber, or if you're just here to engage in chat. I appreciate all of that. That means a lot to me. And then real quick, I do stream Monday through Fridays, and I stream around 12 to 1 p.m. Central. So around that time frame, we talk about news here. I talk about news here, talk about tech news. I engage with chat. Anytime you guys have any stories or any questions or anything, I try to answer them, try to just let you guys know that this is a community. It's a time to chill, talk about chat, see what's going on, see what new news is out there. I don't know everything that's going on, but I love to share my knowledge and I love to learn new stuff from you guys. So with that being said, guys, tomorrow I'll be back 12 p.m. Central. Again, we'll talk about everything under the sun when it comes to tech, if I find it interesting, and we'll go from there. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining the stream. And I'm just pausing for whatever. I'm just trying to buy time. Here's the outro. See you guys tomorrow.